Oh, goodness. Big damage on the 18 as well. Oh, we got a crash on the front straightaway. The 20 car, Christopher Bell, and the 1 get together.
I'm liking a little bit of Kevin Harvick. I know that sounds crazy.
I would argue today might be his most clutch win of his career.
The closer, Kevin Harvick, is going to make it happen in Michigan.
Everybody who doubted us doesn't know us.
And after a week of celebration for the Ford team and Kevin Harvick, after snapping that 65-race winless streak, it's time for practice and qualifying from Richmond. And that means a short track racing. If we take a look at playoff standings with just 3 races remaining in the regular season, everyone in yellow, they are locked in either based on wins or regular season points. The rest that have wins still obviously inside of that top 16. The big fight right now is between Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. for that final spot in the playoffs. 15 drivers have won races already this year. That is something that we haven't seen since the playoff era started. All right, alongside Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mayor Jeff Burton, we look at this battle right now between Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney. Is there an advantage to one or the other?
You know what, this entire year, if somebody says someone has an advantage, I don't know how they would. You never know what's going to happen. I really feel like, though, Truex and Toyota, they're starting to pick up their game. They're starting to run well every single place. Truex has a lot of wins here. I don't think past success matters, though. When the pressure's on, people tend to step up. I think Blaney has as good of a chance as Truex.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Blaney has a real shot here. He has 2 top 10s here, only 2 top 10s. Doesn't run good at Richmond, but the last 2 races when he got those 2 top 10s. A 7th here earlier this year, and led a lot of laps in this race as well as Truex. But I think if he comes in here, has that same competitive spirit and runs well this weekend, he goes to a road course, usually does pretty good at those, then goes to Daytona where he leads laps and runs up front and can finish well. So I think he has to feel good about the racetracks that he has to run at over the next 3 weeks. Truex, though, I don't feel a strong racetrack to racetrack for him, specifically at Daytona. If he has to go in there and have a great finish points-wise, I don't know if Truex can really pull it together at Daytona. It's just been a tough racetrack for him.
It's going to be a competition all weekend between those two. We'll keep on it. Practice is first. It's coming up next from right here at Richmond. Now rolling off of pit road for their 20-minute practice session. There'll be 2 groups, Group A and Group B, then single car qualifying, 2 laps each. The top 5 from each group will then advance to the final round to determine the top 10 starting positions. What are you feeling for, Jeff? You were out there earlier in the NBC Sports car, and what are you expecting? What are these guys feeling for? They've been to this racetrack already. They have a little bit of experience. What do they want to feel in this first few laps?
Well, this racetrack, it reminds me a lot of Darlington in the sense of how it eats up tires. So what you want is a car that will blast off and make good lap time, but also will hold speed on the long run. We know that this racetrack eats tires up. So if you can find that magic formula where you can go fast early and have good long run speed, that's obviously what you want. But that is one of the most difficult things in all the racing to have both of.
Shifting. Would you ever get into 5th gear here? What's happening with the transmission?
Yes, I think we'll have to see what happens. But everyone I spoke to this morning thought that shifting on new tires down the back straightaway you would need to do that. But they said it was going to be a quick shift, like maybe just 100 feet before turn 3, you might have to shift to 4th to 5th gear so that you don't over-rev the engine.
There's Martin Truex Jr. We've talked about right now outside of the playoff picture, currently 17th. Parker Kligerman.
Well, Rick, no shift right there. And I'd like to welcome the viewers to a beautiful Richmond Raceway down here on pit road. A nice little breeze. It's absolutely awesome weather-wise here. But I had an interesting chat with James Small, who's the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr. this morning, and said, where's this 19 team at? He said, well, we're a team that probably had about 8 races this year that we should have won. You think back to New Hampshire, a race they dominated the last time we were really sort of on a short track like this. And then coming to a place like Richmond, where they've been so awesome and had a shot to win earlier this year. And he said, this race team, we do nothing different. We know how close we've been. We just simply are in a position where we need to execute. although one thing has changed, Martin Truex for the last couple of weeks has told everyone it's going to be fine. We don't need a win to get in. Well, he said finally, now he's in a position where he can no longer admit that they have to get a win if they want to get into the playoffs, Dave.
Parker, Ryan Blaney's had a great year, and just consider this. Since the middle of April, he has been the highest running car points-wise without a win. That didn't matter so much when there were only 8 winners, but then there were 9, then there were 10, 11, 12. Now there have been 15 different winners, and so that highest position suddenly becomes the low position and a danger point for Ryan Blaney. I asked his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler, about it. Jonathan told me, I told the guys, we can't be doing anything different. We've had so much speed in this car. If you guys start doing things different, we're going to have issues. So do the same things you've been doing. We hope we can get the win. We hope we can get this car into the playoffs.
The best finish this year of 3rd for Ryan Blaney. Came at Nashville. And very uncharacteristic. We've seen great success out of Ryan year in and year out. But right now he's in a troubled position. If somebody beneath him wins, it knocks him out of the playoff picture.
I think he's got to feel good, though, coming in here, having had such tough luck at this racetrack, not really been able to figure it out and have good speed and get the results. But this year earlier did have those, those ability to lead laps and run well and finish well. And a lot of things have been learned since that race across the garage. And I know the Toyotas picked up a lot at Michigan. So did the Fords. The Fords surprised me a little bit at Michigan as well. And it's almost like a new track. Almost, everybody's learned so much since we were here earlier this year. It's like almost a new track coming here for the first time again.
How much of that notebook do you look at if you're, say, Ross Chastain and their team coming back from how much has taken place from the first time we were here?
Yeah, I mean, I would talk to Steve. I'd sit down with the crew chief and say, all right, I like this about the car last time we were there. We've learned all these other things. What can we incorporate into the car that we learned that we know will be better? And what are some things for us to maybe possibly quickly change on the car to try and practice with the limited amount of time you have? You're able to get a few changes in the car during 20 minutes of practice, so kind of have those prepared to know what those changes will be so the team's ready and can do it quickly.
It's a difficult place right here, Junior, with making changes because, you've run 10, 11 laps. Chastain's run 11. That's a ton of speed out of that race car. I mean, his fastest lap, he's a second off. In 11 laps, he's a second off of his fastest lap. So when you come in and make a change, it's very hard to get a read on that, Dave.
Jeff, what he wants is more grip entering turn 1. Said it was tight in the center of 1 and 2, but as a driver, what do you mean more grip heading into turn 1?
Yeah, so turn 1 is I think, Junior, one of the most difficult corners in racing because right here you can see how flat it is, right? And it's really wide, and the car doesn't make a lot of grip. It feels light. It feels like the car is just not in the racetrack, and you want like 3 times the amount of downforce that you have to drive the car into the racetrack, and that's really one of the most difficult parts of the racetrack because your entrance to one sets up the middle of 1 and 2, and that sets up the exit of 2. So right here off throttle, you want to be able to just turn the wheel and it wrap that yellow line, and then right there be able to go back to the throttle. So just more grip, making him so he could drive it in the corner harder, Parker.
And Jeff, I had that same conversation with Joey Logano earlier today, and I asked him with this newer car, has it changed turn 1? Because the old car, it was almost like you had to make a choice, right? You could brake softer and sort of wrap and have a bigger arc on the entry, or sort of drive straighter down in the brake zone and brake harder. And he said, yeah, the braking is a little bit better in this car, but he said the challenge is still the same. As you mentioned, it's one of the hardest corners we go to because you have that choice of how you want to enter it. And just to add on to this car we're on here right now, Martin Truex in the 19 was watching his SMT. He's one of those drivers that has a bit of a straighter approach to turn 1 in his braking. It looks like, from what I was seeing, it was working for him through the center.
Early in the practice session, both Truex Jr. and Blaney on the racetrack, and early on it's Truex Jr. faster than Blaney.
Richmond Raceway, race 7 of the 2022 season.
Toyota takes stage 2. Martin Truex on a 2-stop strategy.
Hitting this time.
We have green flag pit stops.
Here comes Denny Hamlin. He's going to try to get around Truex. He'll do it.
4 laps to go. Denny Hamlin side by side with William Byron. A nose out in front. Hamlin clears Byron.
It is all Denny Hamlin at the Richmond Raceway.
That's one hell of a drive there. The 8th straight call gave Hart. Nice work, guys.
Hamlin wins the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway.
How about that hometown win?
Always sweeter to celebrate in your hometown. He's done it 4 times here at Richmond as we see him out on track right now. And in this first group, he's currently 6th fastest as far as the 1-lap average. Ross Chastain has set the pace at 22.97. And Steve Letarte, I believe you're standing next to the NBC Sports Toyota on-track car.
Yeah, Rick, we're down here basically in the middle of 1 and 2, right in front of Victory Lane here at Richmond. Jeff, I hope it's all right with you, but we're going to borrow your NBC Toyota on-track car here. We talk about practice, qualifying, the changes these teams make, and we keep referencing the old car to the new car. Well, when we have a great virtual car, there's nothing like the real thing. So we're going to borrow this car during this practice and qualifying session and hopefully explain to the fans what some of the teams are changing, what they're struggling with, and some other tools these drivers are going to use to try to save those rear tires over the long runs here at Richmond.
That is the key right there, saving tires in a long run, Steve. See these 2 guys right here, they've both been out there for 25 laps. And when they rolled out of there, they ran a 23.15. That was a fast lap. They're all the way down to a 24.50 essentially. So well over a second of pace they've lost. Look at the difference in lines. Like you see Kyle Busch up the racetrack in the middle of 3 and 4, still exiting the corner low. Denny Hamlin doing Denny Hamlin things and just wrapping that yellow line. That's where he's always been good here, Junior. It just seems like he's really good running the bottom all the way around the corner.
Yeah, there's really no, second groove. You can move around the racetrack for sure, but the best way when you have a good driving race car is to be pinned right to the bottom of the racetrack. If you're moving around, if you see somebody up the racetrack, it's because their car is not working like they want it to, and they're trying to find ways to sort of band-aid whether it's a push in the middle or loose or no drive off the corner. A guy will run high in the middle of the corner because he can get a little bit better or straighter drive off. So if he's moving around the racetrack, he's trying to repair some sort of issue balance-wise with the car. Typically, though, you want to try to put that left front tire right on that yellow line. A little bit of grip in that paint. So if you can touch that paint a little bit and try to be patient enough to keep the tire on it, you'll actually get the car to turn a little bit better around the middle of the corner. It's really hard to do, to have that type of patience. The car wants to slip up off the bottom of the racetrack. But yeah, when you see these guys moving around, they're just trying to drive off, and fix a push in the middle or something like that. Dave.
Denny was asked in the media center about 30 minutes ago why the veterans seem to do so much better at this track than some of the younger drivers who haven't raced here as much. And Denny said it's just a matter of knowing what you're looking for in practice versus what you'll need in the race. That feel that I'm looking for right now, translating that into what it will be like when I race the car. He said over time, that's been very good for me. He was also asked if he always gets a little bit more nervous when it's the home race, a little bit more on his shoulders. And he said, I really feel it when I don't do well. He said, I always expect to do well, but man, when I don't do well at home, I feel it.
And you're watching these guys move around, run the high side, now back to the bottom. They'll go up and try things and watch the lap time on the dash. Nothing happens, nothing changes. They get frustrated, go back to the bottom.
So watching Ryan Blaney, you talked about it when we came on. Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., they're in a great big point battle, trying to make the playoffs. Blaney sat there. If you're a Blaney fan and you look down the line, 16th fastest. That's all you see for Blaney. You're like, oh no, my guy's not running good. Well, he waited to go out. When they dropped the green flag, he did not immediately go out. Some guys have 31 laps. He only has 25 laps. He's been one single run. So that's why he's not as fast as some other guys. But if you look at his run, on lap 25, lap 23, he's right there with Truex. He's right there with the guys that are fast. So don't just look at it. You see he's running these guys down. You're thinking, wow, he's way faster. His tires are better. His tires don't have as many laps. But he's got good speed right now, Dave.
And Jeff, I asked Jonathan Hassler about that when they finally did leave pit lane. I said, did you do that to get a truer read on the track? He said, yes, absolutely. So that's where those extra 5 laps went at the beginning of this session. They told him just recently, lap times look good, take care of the tires. And that's the key here. If you can make these tires last, you give yourselves lots of options at Richmond.
15 lap average has right now Ryan in 7th, Martin in 4th. Clock continuing to count down on this first group out on the 3/4 mile Richmond Raceway as there are just over 3 minutes to go. We saw the 99 of Daniel Suarez out on track, just going past Eric Almirola, who, by the way, Eric Almirola has put together some really impressive laps. As a matter of fact, he is at the top of the chart in the 15 lap average right now.
A second and 10 lap, 4th in 5 lap sub. This is a track that we've seen Eric run good at years past. Way back when he was driving for Richard Petty, he had some great runs here. So it's obviously a track that he loves and is comfortable with. It's good to see them show up with a little bit of speed. And yeah, he had a little bit of a surprise win last year right around this time of the year. There's nothing saying he can't come out here and win this race tomorrow.
And I'll remind folks that at the beginning of the year, he said this would be his last year. Well, then there's been the rumor mill floating that he might come back for a couple races, may come back for a season. We don't know now. It seems like that has changed a little bit. But he did start the season off saying this is going to be it.
I think that if he has a good run tomorrow, that could certainly weigh positively into that decision. If you're having fun, running well, enjoying what you're doing, it's hard to stop doing it. And I think he's had some conversations with his family, starting to see his position a little more clearly on both sides of the coin. Like, if I move forward and continue to race or not, it's becoming an easier decision to make. And I think he's going to have some good. He's going to be happy with the one he makes when he decides it. He'll let us know.
He's pulling a Mark Martin right now. He's run well over 40 laps. That's what Mark used to roll out there, and he'd run a race in practice.
Tyler Reddick a couple spots ahead of Almirola on the speed chart, currently 2nd fastest. We're looking earlier at Denny Hamlin. I'm going to tie this together. Denny Hamlin, the driver that was on the racetrack. Well, he's also co-owner of 2311, which Tyler Reddick will be racing at in a couple years. It was announced 2024 is when he was going to start. Well, it was also just announced this week that his teammate's going to be Bubba Wallace for sure, because he signed a multi-year deal this week, and I think all the Bubba Wallace fans very excited to see that announcement come out that he has a multi-year contract with 2311.
And this is a racetrack too where we saw Richard Childress Racing have a really great run a couple years ago. They came here with some real speed, and it's kind of surprised everybody, I think, with how they ran. But I just don't know what to think about this 8 car. I know they've won 2 races. They were both on road courses. I'm not surprised to see them fast in practice. I'm not surprised that Reddick can be a hot lapper. I know he has a lot of talent, but I just don't know what this car can run like in the race. You know, and it's hard to really pinpoint or predict what kind of night they'll have, and whether do they have 400-mile pace, or is this just 5-lap practice pace?
Seconds ticking down as this is about the end of Group A practice. We'll take a quick break and be back for Group B to hit the track. So the fastest in Group A, Ross Chastain, multiple-time winner this year. Denny Hamlin, a 4-time winner here at Richmond.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway here. Catch up Martin Truex Jr., who comes here on the playoff bubble, trying to get into the playoffs. So we look at practice there. You were 5th on the board on fastest lap. But what do you think of the car over the whole practice?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were in decent shape there. Obviously, we did a long run just to kind of see where everything went. That's so critical here. Car feels okay. I think the balance is pretty close. Just, man, it's slick, and it's hard to find any traction. So just trying to figure out how we can gain a little bit of balance, a little bit of grip. But overall, Bass Pro Toyota feels in the ballpark. And thinking back to the spring, we had a good race here, and I don't remember feeling quite as happy in that practice. So hopefully that bodes well for us.
When I see a driver run a lot of laps, Dave, I think they're playing a little coy and saying it's okay.
Oh, never for Martin Truex Jr., right? We'll see what happens there. This is young Noah Gragson, who's just been announced as a new driver for Petty GMS Motorsports in the 42 car starting next year. He'll run this race for Colleague Racing as he has already this year. They were a little late to get out to the line here, but fire off on time. Talked to Matt Swiderski, their crew chief, and he said, yep, we had a little trouble getting through tech. We failed twice, and we got through the third time, and now Noah's on track trying to come to grips with this car at this track.
They call it silly season. I'm not sure exactly what the meaning behind that is, because for drivers and teams it's not silly, it's actually very stressful. But it was an announcement that I think we all expected for the 42 team. Ty Dillon had mentioned that he was parting ways with that team at the end of the season, and so that seat was available in the 42, and it was just announced this week that Noah Gragson will take over driving for the 42 and Petty GMS in 2023.
I think that's a good move for Noah. He's done the right amount of time in the lower series, worked himself up. Very competitive every single week, has a chance to win most weeks, and it's time to make the next step. What I found interesting was when they made the announcement, Mike Dean, the general manager, he said, look, we're not hiring a rookie and going out there and just hoping to spend some time and one day get good. We want to run good now. Like he was very clear that they expect results immediately. He said he and the owner were too old to wait around for it to get developed, and that's a lot of pressure, Junior, for a young guy to come in and say, all right, we're expecting results right now.
I think it's been interesting also to see Noah's, kind of progression, I guess, through the, the laps that he's had in the Cup car. Just knowing him personally and talking to him, I don't think he was that thrilled with his first few experiences behind the wheel of the next-gen car. Wasn't really sure whether, man, is this something I really want to pursue? It was just such a difference between the Xfinity car and anything he's ever known. And, I think he adapted to it, really started to see some improvement, started to really understand the car. The car started to feel more comfortable to him. We saw this past week in Michigan, he's running up in the top 10, into the top 5, showing some incredible pace. We've not seen out of this car.
Really tight.
Not seen out of this team at all, right? And so, that had to be a thrill for Colleague to see their car run so well. That's exactly what they want as a company and organization. And it'd also be a thrill for GMS to see a driver they knew they were going to hire to be able to go out there and make it happen.
And he's gotten himself in trouble. He's had a lot of DNFs in the Cup car. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well go push the barriers and find out what's going to happen. It's just ultimately going to make you better.
Quite a bit different from what we saw out of that first group. These guys are actually coming back onto pit road. We saw so many cars stay out for, upwards of 47 laps by Harrison Burton earlier.
And the speed is way different.
Yeah.
It's 0.4 of a second slower. For the Chastain ran a 22.90, Logano ran a 23.30. So it's way quicker that first group. And that's, we talk about changing track conditions and setups and everything else. Well, if you ran that first group and you're like, wait a minute, what's the more representative of what it's going to be like tomorrow? 3.5-4 of a second that's a major difference in speed from one group to the next.
So in about 20 minutes or so, when we get ready to start qualifying, you're saying that the speed is going to continue to come or stay there, plateau, or are we going to see them be able to pick up from their practice time?
Well, I think what happens is that you get all this rubber on the racetrack, right? It's when they first went out, the track was pretty clean. We had truck practice and qualifying, but then they were off track for a little while. Track sat there, had no rubber on it, had no heat in it. Now you got all these cars on the racetrack, and you're putting that rubber down, and it's a little bit different rubber than the trucks, and you're putting more heat in the track with the cars going around it. So the track temp has come up, and now those guys that ran that first group, they got to start adjusting to figure out what it's going to be like when they go to make a qualifying.
2017 winner Kyle Larson out on the racetrack in at number 5, and for this session, fastest lap, he is 3rd quickest behind Logano and Alex Bowman.
It's a great shot right here. Show you the this racetrack. He's running up. He's up a little bit. Not just wrapping around the bottom.
What are you fighting right now?
Just tight loading, but it's slowly getting better.
All right, so tight loading means he's going down this front straightaway now. He's entering turn one. We talked about how flat the entrance is, how wide it is. So now he gets the car loaded. Now it's loaded. Now it's tight. See, he's up the racetrack. Car's not turning well, but he said it's getting better. So now that's a difficult decision. Are we going to come in and make a change to fix that tight, or do we just run it out and see what happens on a long run?
Well, team trying to get power down there and having a hard time really doing that as the rear tires spin. He starts to correct as the back of the car slides out from under him. Dave, what you got on this 45 car?
Well, Ty Gibbs again, and you all can get into more of the why on that. Just reporting his current condition out there, just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. That was after they told him, after 5 laps, the biggest gain you could make is getting into the corner. So remember, this is I believe the 4th race now that he'll be substituting for Kurt Busch behind the wheel. Ty Gibbs just becoming accustomed to the next-gen race car on this track.
So the one thing that I think everybody will deal with, we've heard a couple guys talking about being tight, Rick, and I bet you that only 2 or 5% of the cars here are actually happy with the center of the corner. Everybody that shows up here, every car I ever drove here could get through the corner better. It needed to get through the corner better. I've never had a car not be tight in the middle, and it's a common issue, and you know you're going to give that feedback to your crew chief. He knows it's coming. He doesn't want to hear it, but he knows it's going to be something you're going to have to work on. He's going to be limited on what he can do to try to help you. But I think definitely with this car, there are some things that you can do as a driver as far as entering the corner and how you enter the corner, how hard you drive into the corner, that might be able to help that, the middle of the corner and the car turn. But it's so frustrating here because you can only drive as fast as the front tires will go through the corner. And then once you get to that push in the front tire, that's as fast as you can go. You can't improve your lap time. So you beg the crew chief, help me in the middle of the corner. And until they can, you are not going to be able to improve the lap time, Steve.
Well, and I'll double down that if I do make it a little bit better, you're going to go a little bit faster till the front tires slide again. That's really the idea. The limit is the front. But we heard about tight on new tires, but getting better. The old car, I would say maybe the splitter was on the ground. But in this new next-gen car, there's a step in the splitter to allow the air to go underneath the car to make downforce. So even here on the outside, while it's possible to touch the ground, as we look at the cars on the racetrack, these splitters are inches off the ground. These cars no longer run down against the ground. So that tight on low air pressure, tight on new tires, when in our day, Dale, I would say, well, maybe it's on the splitter. That's why the front's not working. I really think it's just purely air pressure. The longer we run, the more air pressure builds in the front tires. Maybe I started them a little lower than you wanted. So back to your question, do you come in or do you continue running? The crew chief's vote would be just continue to run. Good information, but let's make this a long run.
And Goodyear suggested that the left side front and rear tires have 12 pounds of pressure. So you think about that. Everybody's car at home normally takes 35 pounds of tire pressure. They're recommending 12.
And Rick, there's not a car on pit road that started at 12. That could be the record.
Group B practice taking place now from Richmond Raceway. See the 48 of Alex Bowman on pit road. Dave, what are they changing?
Not sure. They are currently second quick, and I like the vibe.
Yeah, it's really tight center. No front positivity. I really struggle to get pointed. I feel like I can't get in deep or attack the corner because I just don't have any positivity to lead the car with the front tires.
So the vibe has the word positivity in there, but the word no in front of it. So it's not exactly a great situation for him. Still, he's getting good lap time. Former winner here, Alex Bowman, has a shot at it, and they're getting further toward that in practice.
It's kind of like Steve said, you'll make a change. The car will run faster, but you still drive to the same problem, the same issue. You drive to the limit of the grip of the tire, which is typically going to be the front tires here. So you'll make a change, go back out and come back in, if you don't know the lap time, you would go to the crew chief and say, you didn't fix it. But he'll tell you, well, you're 2/10 quicker. So we did fix it. You just drove back to the same issue, just running faster.
Just over 6 minutes to go, and we'll go back to Parker Kligerman.
Well, guys, we take a look here at Joey Logano. I spoke to him this morning. He told me, I love this place, which is always great when you have a positive mental attitude going to the racetrack. That can help, obviously, fastest in this group here. But as we were talking about in the break, it's been really hard to compare this group to the first group because how much this track has changed. And I'm down here at the 22's pit. I'm looking at their data and the SMT and who they're comparing to. He looks really good on the long run as he goes over 33 laps completed so far in this. Has said nothing on the radio, but who's the team comparing him to? The 4 of Kevin Harvick. No other car here that they're comparing. They've been doing that for about the last 10 laps. That tells me they also are not going to compare to that first group right now, and they see that 4 maybe as the closest to them as we go to 34 laps completed.
Exit of turn 4, Junior, you mentioned it earlier about getting that left front tire on the yellow line. He's going a little below it seems like. Even on the exit of 2 he did as well.
Yeah, sometimes when you're trying to get the car turned, it over-rotates just a little bit, and you got to let it go there. You got to let it, turn down the racetrack, and you're gonna nick that apron a little bit. Not gonna really upset the car too much. You'd prefer not to do it, but you're just trying to. That's because they're trying so hard to be as low as possible and use a little bit of that yellow paint right down there. That little tiny stripe is going to give you just a little bit of grip if you can put the tire on.
And the opposite of that is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in front of him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the same lap count as Joey Logano, and he is up the racetrack. He is the first guy that I've seen really committed to running the second and third lane. A lot of people kind of flirted with it, but he's up there. He's committed to it, and Joey can't get by him, and they have the same lap count. So I like that, Junior. I like the fact that we can see a car up there on old tires make a decent lap time.
It was 47 way up there. I like it too. I want to see guys go up there and just see what they find, right? It's kind of like a search. You don't know what's there. You don't know if there is speed or grip. And you got to go way up the track like this. Nobody's been as high as the 47. So the 22 saw it. 47 driving away from him. So Joey goes up there and he's going to try to make it work. It might happen for him, it might not. But you can see he's going up there to see what that 47 car might have found.
And Ricky, he keeps trying to find more. That time he was about in the 4th groove in the middle of 3 and 4. This is now you're right. There's Joey. He inched up to it. His brain's telling him it doesn't work up here because it hasn't worked the last few races. But I see that guy up there, that 47 car. He's got the same laps as me, and he's driving away from me. So I got to go see what he's doing. And at the same time, now Ricky's gone to the bottom. Ricky needs to go and see what his car will do on the bottom. Always searching, always hunting, trying to find something on this racetrack.
Back up to at least that second groove for Stenhouse Jr. as Austin Dillon in the 3 went by. Ricky's going to shut her down and bring her back to pit road, looks like.
You just never know what you're going to get when you come to Richmond as far as where they're going to race. We've had races where they were on the wall. I mean, in the Xfinity and the Cup race, running the fence. And, I remember coming here one time, Harvick was driving our Xfinity car, and they ran on the wall. I'd never seen anything like it. It's a combination of the tire, the temperature of the racetrack, and, the cars themselves. But we typically think we could assume the best line's on the bottom, but when the race starts, man, there's no telling where these guys will go for speed. They found it all over this racetrack at one race or another.
I had a race 1 here one night till our buddy Dale Jarrett decided to run the top, and my spotter said 88's coming, he's on the top. And hard-headed Jeff said, nah, can't make that work. And I didn't go there until he passed me, and it was too late. And that was one of the first races the top started really to come in, and he had to pass a lap car. He told me later after the race, he said, man, I had to pass a lap car. Went to go around him on the outside, and I'm like, wow, my car's better up here. He started running there, and he was like 3/10 a lap by running the top lane. Cost me a trophy.
William Byron earlier this year, the visit here to Richmond, saw him with his best finish here, a 3rd.
They need to get going. I think this 2014 felt like they were in, going in the right direction the last couple of years, especially at the start of the season, but it's been kind of a little bit of a rough patch. I think they've seen good pace and speed in their cars, just odd things happening to them, bad luck, some bad brakes, but Williams been running some super late model stuff this year and having some great success with that. I think the extra track time in that car and the Xfinity car gives him a lot of confidence to race on Sunday. Some track time experience.
Can we call a 24-year-old a seasoned veteran?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
He's been around enough now.
Yeah, he has been doing this a long time. They start so young. Absolutely, I think you can say that he's seasoned. I don't know if he's a veteran yet, but he's definitely one of the regulars out here now and got plenty of laps on under his belt. But I think that they're hoping that this weekend is a trend toward a positive for them, because they need it going into the playoffs to be able to contend.
We got passed here in the spring on a different strategy. They stayed out on a one-stopper, and the 11 Denny Hamlin had a two-stop and got past with that 4 to go. That's how close it was. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way about all the
fit in
cars,
here
except
because they're going to go back to the flag.
All of them need to pick up their performance as we get close to the playoffs.
Yeah, momentum is a true thing in this sport, and I'm sure that right now Kevin Harvick is feeling great that he was able to snap that winless streak and potentially have some momentum heading into the playoffs. William Byron brings it back to the attention of his crew as that wraps up Group B practice. Qualifying next, 2 laps for each car. Group A will be first out onto the track, and again, Ross Chastain's was fastest in that group. Group A and Group B practice is now complete, and the cars rolling out, getting ready for qualifying. Group A will be first, and for a little show and tell, we want to go back to Steve and the Toyota on-track car.
Well, thanks, Rick. So I had to enlist some help due to my vertical ability being over 6 foot and the car being built for our old buddy Jeff Burton. I got Parker Kligerman to help me and to climb in. One thing we have talked about the lug nuts and everything that's different about this car, but the pedals, Parker, I don't think we've talked about enough. So we've put an in-car camera in here, and we're going to take a look at Parker's feet. So on the right-hand side, these pedals are mounted to the floor, unlike your street car and really unlike cars before. And it's important, Parker, because here at Richmond, on those old tires, you got to ease into that throttle. You just can't step on the throttle. And even more importantly, with your left foot on the brake, you have to trail brake. So you stand on the brake and then keep your foot on it a little bit. So if you take a look compared to last year's car, we're going to bring in this on the left is a Martin Truex Jr. So if my friends in the booth will draw on this, I want you to see how their pedals are mounted up top and hung. Kind of like your car back at home, right? Like your rental car, Parker. They're hung down. So Kevin Harvick told us this week after his win, it took up until just a few weeks ago to get comfortable with this new pedal format. So I'll ask you, as a man who's driven everything, does it feel natural, or would it take some time to get used to floor-mounted pedals?
It's definitely an adjustment, and it's the feel that you have and how you sort of approach that you talk about, sort of easing into the throttle. That just changes, and you got to find that muscle memory all over again after something he's done for 20-plus years before the other way, and now relearn that with something different. I actually saw Kevin put some oil a little bit basically on his foot a couple weeks ago at Pocono, because he wanted to feel the pedal differently or have his foot slip across it differently. So as you know, drivers, we have our little things that we like a certain way, and if you take that away from us, we've got to then relearn what we know as a driver.
Well, I will say, Junior, you talked about the limit being the front tires in the middle of the corner. That's on me. But the grip of those rear tires and lasting over a 30, 40, 50 lap run, that's on the man in the seat. You're going to have to be easy on that gas.
Thanks for the ride, Jeff.
Don't mess it up.
Jeff,
the thing that I find interesting about the pedals is that the brake doesn't bother me at all. It's not that different from what I'm used to, but the throttle is way different than what I was accustomed to. And the way that you adjust it, the way that you get the tension the way you want it. Everybody has a different ratio of throttle they want. If you push it an inch versus 2 inches to go wide open, the tension, how stiff it is to push, all that stuff, drivers have a preference to it, and many of them have had to make an adjustment with this car.
take a look at the rules for qualifying. Again, it will be 2 groups. Group A and Group B will go out. It will be single car qualifying, so each Driver will go out for 2 laps, and the top 5 from each group will then advance into the final round. First car rolling is the 15 of J.J. Yaley, the 45-year-old out of Phoenix, Arizona. Hasn't run the full schedule this year in the Cup Series.
All right, Rick. So we just saw 4/10 of a difference between Group A and Group B. Now Group A's back out in qualifying. How hard do you run? You just saw Group 2 run 4/10 of a second slower than what you ran in Group A. So how do you know how much grip this track has on it?
As hard as those new tires will go.
Well, how do you find that out?
Well, as a driver, you go right to the edge.
That's why they put backups in the trailer.
JJ up the racetrack a little bit there in turn 1 and 2, so he's going to back it down a little bit for his entry to turn 3 to try to stay a little bit lower on the racetrack there. Had a little bit of speed last week, surprised themselves, I think, with how much pace they had for qualifying.
23:71 was his practice time, and he goes out in a 24:29, so about that 4/10 of a second that you talked about, Jeff.
Well, and on top of that, you need to run faster than what you ran in practice, right? Because you have qualifying air in the tires now, and you have a little bit different setup to go run 2 laps. So you would hope you could run faster than you did when you ran practice.
And looks like something amiss with the 21 of Harrison Burton. He was scheduled to go out second. So they're going to roll the 2, Austin Cindric, around and send Austin out.
That always is a driver, Junior. There you
go. Power thing.
I never liked, sounds like the 21 got theirs fixed, but I never liked that happening to me. Like, I'm planning on going.
Yeah.
Not now. I was going to go after he went, and that kind of always threw me off rhythm just a little bit.
Like you're talking about for 2. Yeah.
Cindric,
yes.
yes.
So you didn't like find out you were going to go 1 car sooner.
No.
Oh man.
I didn't really want to go anyway. I was so bad at it. Now you made me do it sooner.
Yeah. You throw me off, man. I wasn't supposed to go yet. Yeah, I understand that.
78 of BJ McLeod is currently 3rd on that list as far as going out, but he will not go out and qualify. They made some changes, so he will not qualify in this session. Dave.
With Cindric's teammate, and Cindric is on track right now, Ryan Blaney, and he's back a little bit further. This will go by quick, so we wanted to get you while we could. What do you think you had there in practice, and what do you expect for qualifying from the 12?
Yeah, I thought our body armor Ford Mustang was pretty decent in practice. We just made a long run, got about 45 laps, and just trying to see where you start. What's your middle of the run look like? What do you look like, with 30, 40 laps on your tires? Because you're going to get long runs tomorrow, and you have to learn how to manage it. So I think we did a pretty good job at it in the spring race, kind of doing the same thing and practicing and kind of working on it for the race. So hopefully, I think we're close. There's always some things you can tweak, and I got some stuff hopefully I can do better as a driver to kind of preserve tires. That's the name of the game here. So, but right now it's trying to get a good lap. It'd be nice to cut a good lap and try to make it to the second round, but we'll see. But not a bad practice, just got to continue.
Good data acquisition practice. We'll see if he can nail the qualifying laps, guys.
Now we see Michael McDowell. He slid past that 21 from Harrison Burton, still sitting on pit road, but McDowell will now be on the clock.
Eric Almirola also was supposed to go before this 34 and not made it up. There he is back there behind the 21. I don't know what to think about these times, guys. 23:78 by 2 car.
It's really slow.
Yeah, he ran a flat in practice. I don't expect him to back up what he ran in Group A. We know that was a faster group and the track was slowing down a little bit, but that 23:70 is, even in Group B for practice, that's like back in the very back of that group.
It's confusing. Relatively at the top of the charts in Group A. As we see McDowell now, he's a 1/10 of a second off of what Cindric has run. McDowell ran a 23:40 in practice and a 23:89. So again, it's about that 4/10 of a second slower from what we saw in that first group running their practice times.
I like the way this car is rolling around the bottom. Michael's doing a great job not overdriving the entry, keeping the car kind of low. And the car wraps and gets around the middle of the corner quickly. It's a good lap.
What was concerning about Cindric's lap is that was you know, 3/4 of a second off of what he ran.
I say that's a good lap, but compared to the 2, I think that's a really good lap for the 34 car. But I don't know where this is all going to end up because I can't tell really. I couldn't tell you what I think the pole is going to be.
Here's Harrison Burton and Parker. Any word on what was the problems with the issues with these people?
Yes, Rick. So they couldn't get the engine fired on the 21, so we saw some other cars go around him. At the same point, the 10 was right behind him and sort of blocked in. He was still getting ready, so then they sent the other cars behind the 10 of Eric Almirola. You see they're sitting on pit road and now should be ready to go after Corey LaJoie here. So there's a little congestion at the line because the 21 couldn't get fired.
I'll tell you this, not that this was intentional by any means, but if I could drag my feet, this would be a nice time to be doing it because I don't think going out early in qualifying is any good. I think that, you know, every time we sort of take a break and there's no track activity and then you fire the track back up, it loses a little bit of time. And every time that we've ever had qualifying, I don't know anybody that want to go out early unless we were qualifying at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's never really that great of a racetrack for the first handful of guys.
So Harrison went to the top of the board, but again, we're still a little confused because that's a fair amount off of what he ran in practice.
3.5 tenths slower than what he ran in practice, as we see Corey LaJoie now on the racetrack.
I will say though, maybe that, you know, waiting a car or two was beneficial for Harrison to get a little bit better of a racetrack to be able to go out there and make that lap.
It's a metrics that sets the order for qualifying based on numerous inputs. But in that situation where they couldn't get the car fired, is there a time limit that they have to go out? You can't skip 3 drivers or 4 drivers?
Yeah, NASCAR will put you on the clock and not give you just the opportunity to just take advantage. Corey LaJoie with a good lap. He's going to go to second. So I certainly think that going out early is going to end up being a disadvantage here. Let's see, we got the 10 car rolling out right now. He had good speed in practice. This is going to kind of set the stage, I think. Although Cindric had good speed as well, but already you see Almirola. Now he's falling off a little bit. Went into turn 1, had good speed. Almirola was 4th fastest in Group A.
Again, he was close to a 23 flat, and he loses coming off of turn 4 there.
All right, so now he's got to adjust. Now he knows what he's got compared to what he had in practice. Now he has to make different inputs as a driver. How far can I drive in? Up the racetrack, I believe higher than he wanted to be. Whoa, sideways. Just trying to push really hard right there. The track just does not have the grip to accept it.
Yeah, really ambitious entry to turn 1 and just didn't work out either lap, to be honest with you. Lost a little bit of time on the exit 2 both laps. I think he'll be disappointed with that. Because I think he knows his car's got a little more speed, but we watched him get into turn 1 and up the racetrack on lap 1 and 2 and just trying to get everything he could there. He knew the exit wasn't going to be great. He was going to hang in there and stay in the gas, try to make it work.
He could just quit the lap. There we go. So Kyle Busch, good entry speed into 1, losing a little bit off of 2, but still green entering turn 3. This is the hardest corner. It's so easy to overdrive this corner.
Good patience there. Stay low. It's going to pay off for him with a good lap right there, 58.
All right, so now let's see if he can pick up on his second lap.
Oh, he's gonna say that's good enough. I ain't gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to beat that one, he says.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that move.
Save a little bit of tire. If he does make this top 5, he gets to take a little bit better tire into that final round, Parker.
And guys, I may be crazy. I was down here in turn 1. I thought I heard him shift on that lap too, at least a downshift. So I don't know if we can find that one out. Also, just talking to Randall Burnett, the crew chief for Tyler Reddick, he was seeing in sort of the times, and he said, yeah, this track is obviously way slower. I asked him what he could do to adjust for that. He said not much they could do adjustment-wise with the low grip. He said that's something we tell Tyler and hope he can adjust to that grip level. We'll see.
There's a lot of tracks that are hard to qualify at. We were at North New Hampshire a couple weeks ago talking about how difficult it was to qualify there. Drivers were backing up those statements saying the same thing. I think this is another racetrack, Jeff, that I always found a lot of challenges to try to, just because it changed so much from minute to minute, you'd go out there and make a run and struggle to back it up in qualifying. A great lap here for Haley. As we're comparing to Cindric now in 5th place, but still top of the board for Haley.
Yeah, I think we're going to see this track continue to get faster. Just really do. I mean, every car that's gone out has picked up some speed. Haley decided to make his second lap. We've seen a few cars that ran faster on their second lap. Looks like he will as well. No, I'm sorry. We're still comparing down the roll. We're not comparing to himself. So he actually ran slow.
P1 for now. P1, good job.
23:53 for Haley. Again, the top 5 from each group will advance to the final round to determine the pole and the starting positions for the top 10. Tomorrow on USA, it's short track racing. There's only one spot remaining in the playoff picture. Could that be Martin Truex Jr.? Might be Ryan Blaney, or maybe someone else gets a win and gets into the top 16. Countdown to green gets us started at 2 o'clock. Cup Series racing at 3. And NASCAR America post-race show wraps everything up at 6:30. Parker mentioned it earlier. Beautiful day here in Richmond, Virginia. Fans are coming out as qualifying continuing. Now it's Tyler Reddick who will take his turn on the track.
Tyler Reddick approached coming to the start-finish line, kind of like you do on a 1.5 miles, ran halfway up the racetrack, trying to build some speed coming to the start-finish line.
Again, these drivers trying to get inside of the top 5. That's why we'll compare this to Eric Almirola, who's currently 5th. Was in the green entering turn 3. He's going to lose a little bit of time.
Yeah,
good exit, though.
Yeah, did a nice job.
Really slow back to the gas off of 4.
All right, so clearly he's going to run a second lap, see if he can pick up some.
He's got to break that time, man.
Yeah, he ran the exact same time as Eric Almirola.
He's getting off the corner good, straight and low. I like that. Driving that car right off the bottom here, trying to keep it as low as possible.
Much better lap.
Man, he's got a good little race car. I was wondering if he had real pace in practice.
There you go.
I love the way that car looks and the way it gets around the corner and rolls to center.
Jeff, you called it. As we go later in this qualifying session, they're picking up the speed.
I think it's going to go all the way through Group 2 as well. I think the track will continue to get faster.
Suarez on a good lap here as well.
You wonder now, Kyle Busch, we saw him only run 1 lap. Is that strategy going to work out? Because I don't think he's going to make the top. He's not going to make the top 5, I don't think, at this point.
23:34, fastest lap turned in this qualifying session.
You can see how much harder he can drive the car than what Austin Cindric was able to drive his. This track's just way better now.
Suarez 23:34. That was his first lap. Let's hear from Kyle Busch, currently in the 4th spot. He's with Parker.
Right, Rick, let's ask him what he thinks if he's going to make it through. First of all, just confirming that you did shift, so I wasn't crazy, and you did 1 lap. Do you think that's going to be strong enough to get through here?
No, wrong side of the 50s. And then now at 34. But I don't know. I mean, the car felt okay. Just maybe under-rolled a little bit of the entry speed with that higher gear, you know, but felt like I got center and exit pretty decent. So if it doesn't hold, it doesn't hold. We haven't qualified here great in the past, started in the back and drove through the field. So nothing new. We'll do what we need to do here tomorrow with the M&M's Camry.
Pretty nonchalant about it, guys. I like that. I was not crazy. He did shift.
And Bell goes to the top of the chart now, 26 for Bell, 23:26, so even faster than Suarez.
And that's a relief because his pace in practice had me a little concerned. I expected Bell to be great here because it's a track that he's had great success with in Xfinity and the Cup Series. And so good to see that lap time come out at 20.
This was the fastest car in the first practice, so the practice session of Group A. He ran a 22:97, the only one sub 23.
You heard him in the rev limiter.
Great lap by Ross Chastain. And he's fastest now at a 23:20.
Look at the order of the cars where they are, first, second, third, fourth, and look at how they rolled out in qualifying order. The track, clearly some cars are better than others, but this track is helping these guys a lot right now. It'll level off at some point.
.43 of Eric Jones on track. Found out earlier this week who his teammate will be next year at Petty GMS.
Eric Jones done a really good job in this car. He's got a good lap going.
Yeah, another really good lap here. And he goes to the top. 23.24. So 2:04 for Eric Jones, 3/1000ths of a second faster than Ross Chastain, and he locks himself into that top 5.
Yeah, I felt really slow. I was getting ready to try to hammer one.
That's funny.
Well, so think about this. He made a qualifying run. Okay, we talked about the track being faster every time we go out, but that's still slower than he ran in practice. Like, so
yeah,
it's just really, the drivers are confused about how much grip the track has in it.
That's what makes this place so hard to understand on qualifying, is how hard to drive it. What really is the track going to give you? We sat on the pole here one time. I had no idea that I'd ran a pole type qualifying lap. I'd have never assumed that we ran a fast enough lap to get the pole.
I always thought you guys gave credit to crew chiefs when you won a pole.
You got to give it to somebody, because
the team put the car together.
Yeah, you got to give it to somebody else besides the driver, because they obviously they're just going out there like, I don't know, just gonna go off in the corner and see what happens.
Well, Chase Elliott is 5th.
Up to 4th right there, faster on his second lap. Denny Hamlin loves coming to Richmond from Virginia. Grew up not far from here. Raced racetracks around Richmond, Virginia. Worked himself up to this level. I'd say this is a pretty good lap here, guys.
Really good lap.
I think that's it. Up.
Hamlin 23.10.
Yeah, pretty easy decision for that team to back it down after that. There's not enough cars to go in Group A to knock him out. Or his crew chief, so that's enough.
And now we get two guys that really have an important weekend ahead of them.
Yes.
Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney, the final 2 cars in Group A. Riding on board the Toyota Camry with Truex.
And it's cool that they are going out near each other, right? No disadvantage or advantage in track temp to offset these guys and where they're going to start.
Oh, he's back into the gas, lost a little bit coming off 2.
Yeah, tires started to spin a little bit. He had to crack the throttle just to get the grip back in the rears and then commit again to the throttle. A lot of wheel movement there, man. It's such a slick racetrack, but still yet putting together a good lap. It feels terrible.
He's locked into the top 5.
It feels terrible. It's not driving good, not doing what you want it to do.
23.15 for Truex Jr. and only 1 car to go in Group A. That will be Ryan Blaney. So Bell, the only one that's on the hot seat here in the top 5. He waits anxiously.
Yeah, I think he's concerned a little bit. This guy here could do it.
Blaney in practice didn't show us a lot of speed. 23.55.
Yeah, remember though, he went out late. Track lost some speed when he went out. His long run speed looked good. Hard to compare his short run speed, but almost 2/10 up on Bell entering turn 3.
And Bell knows it. Bell saw that right away when it was in the green and 2/10 of a second. He realized that did it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yes, it is. 22.91 for Blaney. Knocks Christopher Bell out of the top 5. So it's Blaney, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Jones, and Chastain. They will advance to the second round. Coming up this week, NASCAR American Motor Mouse, as well as the Dale Jr. download on Peacock. It's Motor Mouse 6 to 7 on Monday and Wednesday. And again, you get a call in to be a part of that show. Really enjoyed Ty Gibbs on Dale Jr. download last week. Junior, a look into, the young 19-year-old kid who's really been thrust into the spotlight of NASCAR. But those shows on Peacock, make sure to join us next week as we see Landon Castle out on track now as we get underway with Group B qualifying. Again, the top 5 will advance to the second round.
Landon always has a little magic in those qualifying laps he runs. See what he can do for us today. Driving for Spire here today in the 77.
No Xfinity race this weekend, so Landon's free to come run this race.
LaJoy, also of Spire, ran a 23.71, and Landon goes 23.36.
So, we talk about the track conditions. Well, this lap right here by Landon Castle.
Whoa.
Is, basically the same speed as what Suarez ran earlier in Group 1. So, Parker, I think the track now is probably equaled out.
Exactly, and we saw it pick up, and that's what Christopher Bell saw when you guys were watching him live there. The first one knocked out in Group 1, so did you just need to go later maybe to be a part of that first group top 5?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a toss-up because you want to run as few laps on your tires as you can, and we called it off, or Adam called it off after lap 1, but I don't know that I really was going to pick up on lap 2, so I think it was the right call, just bad circumstances, but I love this racetrack. Richmond's always been a really good place for me, so I'm excited about tomorrow.
And guys, he had a big pickup from practice and told me they just went out a little later in practice. Took them time to get going, but that was good speed in qualifying.
Yeah, he talked about liking the racetrack. So not going to start inside the top 10. We'll see how far he'll fall down after this second group goes through their qualifying session. And we saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. put up the fast lap, 23.22. Todd Gilliland, another rookie in the Cup Series, and right now was trending in the green as he went through turns 1 and 2. Got to spend a little bit of time with Todd this week. Great young
exit.
man.
Good exit there.
Yeah, Todd and I and Michael McDowell spoke this afternoon, and Michael was very complimentary of the job Todd is doing this year as a rookie. He and Michael are teammates. Really enjoys working with Todd.
And he goes to the top of the chart here in Group B early on, 23.15. Dave.
Rick, if you're a Group B driver, it's nice to have a Group A driver who's a teammate who got through. That was Blaney. Any advice for you?
Hammer down, I guess. It's good to just kind of get a second opinion on how he drove the car and kind of what his car was able to do. Obviously, it's very fast, and our Shell Penzo Mustang's pretty fast too. In race trim, we just hope when they pump the pressures up that it has what it needs when you get going out there to lay down a fast one. So getting through the first round is what it's all about.
Good luck with that. He brings up a good point. That practice, a lot of it was indeed race trim. Then they just go out there and see what they can do for the quali lap.
Here's Noah Gragson on the clock, and just announced earlier this week that he will be racing full-time for Petty GMS in 2023 in the Cup Series. So another driver that has advanced out of junior motorsports and headed to the Cup Series.
That's a good lap. He did a good job running that lap right there. If he'll continue on. Nope. So I was really impressed with just how clean looking that lap was. Right on the bottom.
Yeah, it was clean.
It's either getting better, the track's gaining grip, it's easier to run a better lap, a cleaner lap, or these guys are being more patient, having seen what the first group did. trying not to overdrive their cars into the corner, slide up the racetrack.
So Cody Ware on the track now. He is the 5th car in this Group B qualifying session. 23.63. Currently the slowest of the 5 that have been on the track. We're again comparing now to Todd Gilliland. After Cody goes, we'll start comparing to the top 5. Again, 5 advance out of each group. 23.55 for Cody. Parker.
And 4th in the first group was Eric Jones, who came on the radio and said, that felt slow. We've been talking about the track and the conditions. What's it like out there? What are these drivers experiencing right now?
It's been weird. I felt like I really underdrove it, and it's probably good for right now. It's just slick, and I think everybody's probably snug from judging of what my balance is. But, you know, the Focus Factor Chevy had some good speed there. Glad to put a good lap down and get in the second round here again. I don't know if we've done that 2 weeks in a row this year, so it's good. We're improving, though, in qualifying. We're improving, you know, feel like a bit everywhere, but it feels good to be in the second round, and hopefully we can go get a better starting spot than 10th last week. You know, we don't want to be last in the second round again, so try to bump up from there.
This team keeps bringing fast race cars to the track, guys.
Cole Custer, he's now gone up to P1, ran a 95 to compare. Fastest in Group 1 was Blaney, and he ran a 91. So we keep talking about the track and how we feel like it keeps improving. At some point we think it might settle out, but right now it still seems to be advancing. The later you go is an advantage.
Once again, Ty Gibbs subbing for Kurt Busch. This is race number 4 that he has been out of the car after the qualifying accident that Kurt Busch had.
It was interesting into turn 1 there. Junior went in the corner, went way up the racetrack. I thought he was in trouble and was able to turn and leave on the bottom. I think he's got to clean this lap up a little bit.
There you see, yeah, a lot better getting down in the corner. Didn't overdrive the entry, able to keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack. But the lap really not a whole lot better. See if we can improve here. Yeah,
a little bit better.
A lot better in 3 and 4.
Lap 2, an improvement there for Ty Gibbs. Steve, I wanted to pose a question to you. The guys that go out in Group A and advance in the top 5, are they allowed to do anything or touch the cars until the end of this Group B qualifying session?
No, so to make sure it's fair for everyone, if you go out in the first group, Group A, and you qualify inside the top 5, you basically just have to sit on pit road until the 5 cars from Group B have been established. Then all 10 cars will have basically an equal amount of time to get ready for the final run. There's really not a lot you can really do anymore. Remember, these guys don't add tape to the grill anymore. You're allowed to tape up the brakes, but not the engine. So other than some tire pressures and very small adjustments, really, it's really about discussing with your driver if there's something you think the car might do and something he can do from behind the wheel to kind of get ahead of that balance.
Trying to make it fair for everybody.
Keselowski to the top there with a great lap, 93. The Fords running pretty good here.
22.93 for Keselowski. Cole Custer was a 22.95.
You know, we had Blaney at the top of the sheet in Group A. Got some Fords up front here in Group B. Todd Dillon on the racetrack in his 42 car. Says that he's going to try to continue to race in the NASCAR series some way, somehow. Trying to put some deals together. Don't know where he's going to end up.
Ty right now trending in the green compared to Noah Gragson. And Noah will drive this car next year. Into the red. Ty went there on the exit.
I feel like Ty could have cleaned this lap up a little bit as well. Looks like he's driving really hard. Good shape right here. Just on overdrive 3. Well, it's up the racetrack a little bit. Just feel like a little bit too much entry speed in the 3 right there to be able to hold the bottom.
Ty sits in the 7th spot now. After 9 have gone here in Group B. Still the fastest is Keselowski, and sitting on that bubble is Noah Gragson. who will be the top 5 that will join Blaney, Hamlin, Truex, Jones, and Chastain from Group A.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway. Qualifying for the Cup Series continues, and Group A driver Ross Chastain has been waiting, just waiting for a chance to put the one car on pole. You were the 5th guy in the first round. Can you get it done in round 2?
If this was the spring, I would say you wanted to go out first in round 2, but now it seems like it's the opposite. I've never seen the lap times change like this, as it seemed like the beginning of our group was super slick for all those guys, and it just got faster the later in the group, and it's holding true for the same thing in Group B. So for our Moose Fraternity Chevy, I think going out last in the spring was the worst case scenario, and now we're going out first in the second round in the fall, and I think that's also worst case scenario. So no matter what, though, we'll start in the top 10, which is a big deal for us. So I don't normally qualify well, and then we'll hang out here and watch the Worldwide Express race tonight with the Truck Series.
Good job so far. And guys, it's been interesting. In addition to what Ross said, there's been a lot of radio chatter about just how different this qualifying session has been and how sensitive the track has been today.
And again, with 3 races to go before the playoffs, I think at the start of the season, not many people would have Ross Chastain as a locked-in driver into the playoffs 3 races before, but what a season he has put together. We see Chris Buescher in the green. Again, that's compared to Noah Gragson. And Buescher is going to be 5th fastest on that lap. Parker?
And fastest so far in this group was Brad Keselowski in the 22-second bracket. We've been talking about the track getting faster, but that was a quick lap.
Yeah, not bad, Parker. Let's see that the 4 car looked really good. 22 car looked really good on the short run for qualifying, so they're going to be really tough to beat. But this is a great shot to transfer here, so I'm excited. We got the Roush parts on the car, and really cool looking Ford Mustang. It'd be even better starting up front.
I think your speed ticket is that you have your engine printed on the outside of the motor there.
Yeah, it's extra cooling. Don't tell NASCAR.
I don't think that's the actual engine, guys. Cool looking though.
It's good to see Brad Keselowski smiling. It's been a tough year so far for him, trying to turn that team around. Whoa, Chase Briscoe. He's going as hard as he can. Went up to 4th on that first lap, but even that first lap was pretty eventful. The car is not driving the way he wants it to.
Interesting, going back quickly to Brad Keselowski as we watch Briscoe. Brad came in and went to an established team, and he is making changes immediately. He said, we need to get rid of all the stuff that is in our way of focusing on getting better. And when I say that, they're literally doing a cleaning of the shop. Cleaning house, taking things that are in the shop that potentially are in the way of them working, getting better, and they're selling them. They're giving them to other teams. They're getting rid of things that are in that shop. And I thought that was interesting because you go into a place that Jack Roush built, and you kind of tell him a different way of doing things, and that's the impact that Brad Keselowski right now is having on RFK.
A little shift right there for Austin.
With the 3rd fastest on the first lap.
Man, that's a fast downshift. Right in the corner when you're trying to really kind of do a lot of work with the steering wheel, the brake pedal. There's so many things you're doing at one time, and a downshift added in there.
3rd fastest for Austin Dillon.
So we keep talking about the racetrack and how it's changed. So his teammate went in the first group, and kind of late in the first group, about halfway through the first group, he ran a half a second faster than his teammate on a 3/4 mile racetrack. That is a massive amount of time. We just don't know if the track's going to continue to pick up. I feel like it is starting. It's certainly not the same gap that it was before, but William Byron, P1 here.
Well, shade in turns 3 and 4 now in the racing line. I mean, it's coming all the way down the racetrack now, so it's cooling off.
Oh, absolutely. Add some grips. Good point. Good to point that out, Rick. You see the shade, the car driving through it right there. Right in the point of the racetrack where drivers really need lateral grip. We'll see Byron continuing his run.
Went a little slower the last time, so that was a little disappointing for them. They would have loved to have not run that second lap if they didn't have to keep a lap off, and they ran it, but went a little bit slower.
What would you assume, like running each lap, how much time do you think you'd lose? Would you guess it would be a tenth? of a second?
Yeah, I would. That's really easy from up here to say after that first lap, maybe shut it down. But it's just a tough call. You don't know you're in the top 5. Kyle Busch shut it down, and he was 11th in the first group.
Bowman knocks Ty Gibbs out of the top 5. That puts Austin Dillon now on the bubble, and he's going to try to get another one.
I think Bowman didn't have a choice at 4th fastest.
So another team needs to have a couple good runs, a couple things go their way.
And it worked good for them.
22.91 for Bowman.
Well, that's what you want. If you have to run that second lap, let's break that second one faster.
And now with just 4 cars to go, that locks Bowman in.
Bubba Wallace coming off good run last week. Pretty hard on himself at the end of that race, feeling like he could have done something different to get a win on that last restart. I don't see it that way. I watched that restart 30 times, and I just don't think he did anything wrong. I think he ran really hard. I know he said he could have picked the outside lane.
Shows a different line.
Well, Kyle Larson started on the outside. He finished. Where did he finish? He didn't win.
Yeah.
30 times you watched it.
Yeah, I watched it a lot.
22.98 for Bubba Wallace. I'm seeing a trend. Are you seeing a trend, Junior? Exaggeration, maybe.
Really loose into 3.
And that second lap.
Trying
really
to just
quick.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit too much there. And you got to put up with some being loose in, right? You know, this is a racetrack where the car's going to be loose in because you're going to be trying all day to get it to turn in the middle, and you're going to have to deal with the car having some loose conditions on entry of both corners. But they're not as forgiving as the previous race cars. So when you have that little slip, it really hurts the lap a lot.
So here's an advantage in going out late in your group. Right now, you know you're locked in. Shut it down.
Good. P1. Good job.
There you go. Went P1 and at an 86. There's not enough people to knock you out. So as soon as you lay that lap time down, you're done.
Only 2 to go. Logano and Harvick. Logano will be first out on the track. Harvick, last week's winner, will be the final one to go out in Group B. Logano, a 2-time winner here, but the most recent was back in 2017. And early on in the green,
little slip there. Yep, little wiggle, big slide off the corner. He's going to have to redo this, reload, and try to put together a great second lap.
Change what you're doing. You know the problem now. Approach turn 1.
Keep going,
completely different.
keep going.
The spotter, Coleman Presley, giving him that information to try again, bud.
Much better.
Still not tracking better than 5th, which is Cole Custer. Saw pace out of this car in practice, but not able to back it up here in qualifying.
0.2 of a second off there. And so Logano 11th in this session.
Just as quickly as I put him in my fantasy lineup, he's coming out.
Taking him back out.
I bet this guy right here, did any of us have him in our fantasy lineup last week? We all said he's not running good enough to win, not leading laps, not doing all that stuff. And
then he goes out and wins.
Yeah, they did a great job. Give this guy track position late in the race. It's going to be hard to get by him. Got to find some speed here. 10th and a half off of 5th, his teammate Custer.
One more.
Crew Chief Rodney Childers with some information there to keep going. See him fighting the car a little bit. Rear grip. An issue off of turn 2.
A lot of wheel movement. You can see he's got his hands full on corner entry and tight through the middle.
Not going to happen here either. 0.2 of a second off, and so Harvick will end up 8th in Group B. Fastest is Kyle Larson, and Cole Custer keeps that top 5 spot, so he will go in round 2 to find out if he can win the pole. Imagine if you're a fan and you are consuming a sport but there's one sense that you don't have while you're consuming that. Well, that's what Colby Garrison has lived with her entire life. She is a huge NASCAR fan, but she has been blind from birth, and we're going to have a great story on that. Here's a perspective of what we get from Colby Garrison.
When you say race car, I hear the noise. I do not visualize NASCAR. For me, it's all about the sounds, the smells, the texture, the atmosphere at the racetrack. My life is no less rich, no less vivid or detailed because I don't have sight. It's just different.
Cannot wait to see this. Vivid, the perspective of a blind NASCAR fan. Again, that's Colby Garrison. NASCAR on YouTube presentation premieres this Wednesday, August 17th. And actually, part of that will be the ride around that she had with Jeff Burton earlier today in the NBC Sports Toyota Camry. And this is what she had to say about that.
I think just it was so cool to listen to the engine kind of, as you were getting into the throttle and then letting out of the throttle for the turns. And then I was really able to feel kind of how the back straightaway is very straight. And then that front, it's not really I guess I'd call it the front stretch rather than a straightaway, is more curved to the left.
So the hour I spent with Colby was perhaps the coolest hour I've spent all year. She was so much fun. Her perspective from being in the car, but even before the car, we walked around the car and just did a tour of the car, and the way that she felt the car, was amazing. And I was explaining to her how the splitter works and all that. She was feeling it, and she was talking, and she had a completely different perspective than I had. And after the laps, how she broke those laps down and what she was feeling, I told her she should be a driver coach.
Yeah.
She could feel the less banking off of 2. She could feel it was a tighter corner off of 2, a more open corner off of 4. We were still turning on the front stretch. I mean, she was so aware of things, and it was a really fun hour. I left that. She made my day. It was just so much fun, and her energy and enthusiasm. I'm so glad I was able to do it. She made my day. She just made my day. Best hour I've spent for sure.
Yeah, what a ride around that had to be. And once again, full episode of that, at least seeing the ride around with Jeff Burton here at Richmond. Will be a part of Countdown to Green tomorrow on USA, 2 o'clock. We'll be racing at 3, and NASCAR America post-race show at 6:30, wrapping it all up. Top 5 in Group A, Blaney, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Jones, and Chastain will go up against the top 5 in Group B, Larson, Bowman, Byron, Keselowski, and Custer. To find out who wins the pole and how they will line up for tomorrow's race, the top 10 will be settled when we come back. Get ready for an all-access pass to the world of NASCAR like you've never seen it before. All the drama, the pressure, and the danger, all to become a champion. Don't miss the new NASCAR docuseries Race for the Championship. That premieres September 1st right here on USA. Kyle Larson, fastest of both Group A and B, turned to 22.86, and we'll want to back that up. He will go out in about the 6th position. It'll start off with Ryan Blaney. You see the eyes there as they're getting ready to roll again. Ryan Blaney currently in the 16th spot as far as playoff picture look.
And so when do you want to go out, Jeff? I'm going to let you go out whenever you want. First, 10th, 5th?
10th.
Want to go out last?
We've seen no indication the track's getting slower, and I want to know how fast I got to go.
That's a good point. I think definitely with the shade coming over across the racetrack in turn 3 and 4, it's definitely going to pick up grip and speed down there. Every minute it's cooling off. Every minute the temperature's dropping.
Ross Chastain coming to the line for his first lap of this second round of qualifying.
So now we got a whole nother thing happening. So the teams are having to learn how much grip the track has. Now the teams are having to learn how much grip there is on the second time on tires. And this is a situation that they haven't been close to being in today. It's a huge guess for the driver. You got to find the limit right now. Big loose.
And the back end came out quite a bit as he exited turn 4. 23-1 for Chastain. Ran a 23-2 in his first round of qualifying. Pretty close there at 23.19 his second lap, but this was exiting turn 4.
It's just you're turning the wheel, you're in the throttle, the car left rear is unloading. You'll see a lot of that tomorrow.
Eric Jones on track now. Eric ran a 23.20 in the first round.
Eric's been running a few super late model races as well. I mentioned that about William Byron here lately, but Eric's been driving a little bit outside of the Cup Series.
32 the first lap for Jones.
Actually picking up the second lap. I'm really kind of surprised to see that.
Falling off a little bit there from 3 and 4 now on this second lap.
Still, he went quicker. Didn't go quick enough to beat Chastain, but went quicker on his second lap.
Martin Truex Jr. He's currently 17th in the playoff picture.
He ran a 15 in his first attempt at qualifying.
Looked pretty tight through the middle, 1 and 2. You see his steering wheel. See how he just tugging it to the left. Car's not rotating the way he wants it to.
That probably won't get better this second lap as far as the balance.
A little better lap so far.
Yeah, he did. He cleaned it up a little bit. Can he keep it going down here?
Lost a lot of time exiting 4.
I love that shot where you can see the wheel input. You can tell exactly, what he was struggling with, and he just wanted the front to work better.
He's trying to look at that scoreboard to see where that 19 is on the board. As he glances over to the left of the interior of the racetrack.
Comes Denny Hamlin. Hamlin out of Chesterfield, Virginia. Just a couple miles from here, actually. So this is a home track for Denny.
That Chastain put up's looking better by the car that goes out.
That's exactly the lap that Denny ran in the first round. 1:00.
Getting a little bit better here down the backstretch. Once again, losing a little time there through 3 and 4. Hamlin slots himself in second.
And Blaney ran at 91.6. He's on the racetrack right now, coming to the green flag. Don't know if he'll be able to get into the 22s.
Oh!
Wow.
You heard him get out of the throttle.
That's a big moment.
Yes. Got out of the throttle to keep from just destroying the car against the wall. Even though that happened on the exit of 2, it's still really hard to get your momentum back coming back to the green to run this second lap.
Little wiggle right there. It's going to cost him on corner exit. Up the racetrack in the middle of the corner there.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second slower than Chastain.
Wow. Just wasn't on the bottom on exit, and watch the car right there. Watch it bounce around a little bit. Just had his hands full, Parker.
Yeah, guys, I just had a quick conversation with Chris Gabehart, who's the crew chief for Denny Hamlin. He brought up a great point. We see some slower lap times than we saw in those first rounds, and we see these drivers maybe struggling a little bit for grip. He said, you know, obviously they've lapped on the tires, but also the tires were super dirty from being down here on pit road. There's a bunch of sand and sort of grit down here. He was like, it was impossible for them to even get these cars cleaned up. He said when he was watching some of the cars come off pit road.
Chastain ran a 23.10, and everybody left ran a 22-second lap in the first round of qualifying. So still not completely safe for Chastain. I think there's somebody out there that can get in the 23.0s.
Cole Custer, 23.24.
Yeah, not 100% the lap he wanted, but a good qualifying effort for this team. It's been a struggle for them this year. Cole Custer's a good race car driver. Just haven't been able to put it together yet. Positive start to this week.
Keselowski, 7/100ths of a second, now a 1/10 of a second off. Still right there, 1/10 and a half.
He's going to cut it off right there. Pretty happy with his lap he put together. Didn't think he could beat it.
You know, as far as much as tires fall off, you know, you might need a set during the race. So you can take this set and roll them into your race allotment. You don't want to have to put these on, but if you do, if you start getting a lot of cautions, that's one less lap that you'd have on that set of tires.
They'll have 9 sets for tomorrow's race, and one of them will be this qualifying set that they're on. So William Byron now on the clock.
Wow, look at that. He came to the green really fast. Went through 3 and 4.
Lost it in 1 and 2, though. Gaining it back down the backstretch.
All the Hendrick cars here left to go. Try to beat Chastain. Byron's so close right there. Wow.
Third quickest now at 23.18.
It's just going to be so hard to get it done on the second lap, I think.
Chip a little bit on the back straightaway. I like that. Keeps you, as a driver, from overdriving the corner. Literally, usually when a driver hears the chip, he's going to come off the throttle.
And he could have shifted, right? He could have shifted to prevent that from happening. He chose not to.
Bowman at 22.91 in round 1 of qualifying.
Here a little downshift there in the entry of the 1. Into the chip a little bit on the back straightaway. I'm surprised by this lap that Chastain put down. I thought that these guys would be a little bit closer. Chastain sliding in 4th there. Only 1 to go. Kyle Larson run an 86 in round 1.
You remember a week ago in Michigan, 23.11 got their very first pole with Bubba Wallace. And now Ross Chastain right on the verge of getting Trackhouse Racing's very first pole.
Well, he's got to beat the champ to do it. Former champ Kyle Larson, he's been off racing all week too. Talk about all these guys racing all around the country. Kyle Larson doing the same thing. Oh, he got loose into 1. You saw the wiggle from on top of this car.
Yeah, and so she's struggling trying to get it back off the corner here, but
this is looking good though.
Yeah.
Good lap, entered a 3.
Oh, he's got it.
Jeff with the early call. But he does. Kyle Larson. What a lap. 23.04.
Pole. Good job.
And to have everything that happened in 1 and 2, I would have been shocked to see it happen. So incredible job. I thought with the entrance to turn 1 and 2, the struggles on throttle, let's watch. Watch the steering. Wow. Big loose right there. That sends him up the track. And he's trying to get back to throttle, spinning the tires, jerking the wheel, trying to correct that.
That wasn't a good recovery. That was a great recovery.
13th career pole for Kyle Larson, and a little dejected look there out of Ross Chastain. So close, but Ross will start on the front row tomorrow. Again, we'll see reigning series champion Kyle Larson with the pole. Countdown to green at 2 o'clock. Again, that ride around with Colby and Jeff during Countdown to Green tomorrow on USA. 3 o'clock Cup Series racing, and 6:30 NASCAR America post-race show. Dave.
Well, how about that? We saw the save. We thought it was a save over here. I guess it was just the way to go quick around Richmond. Nice job.
Thanks. No, I definitely got in there a little too hot and got loose, but I felt like I got through the center and off okay and made a decent 3 and 4. Was hoping to see something better than a teen on my dash, and saw the flat and knew that was good enough. So happy, cool to get a pole here at Richmond. I was not expecting to do that. I didn't feel very good in practice, so happy with the hard work that everybody's been putting in on our Chevys, and thanks everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, HendrickCars.com, Hendrick Automotive Group. So yeah, cool to get a pole. Now hopefully get all this media done quick and head to Knoxville to try and win another Knoxville Nationals.
I can't promise that, but you are heading out of here to go do that between leading this field to green tomorrow. Does that get you psyched up, whatever happens in Knoxville?
Yeah, always. Anytime you run good in anything, it helps momentum and confidence. So, getting a pole hopefully will lead to some confidence in Knoxville and go chase another big win.
Just keeps adding on. Kyle Larson on the pole for tomorrow's race here at Richmond.
Take a look at the starting grid. Once again, it's Larson and Chastain up front. Martin Truex Jr. will start in row 3. Again, a big battle with Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney for that final spot.
Good qualifying effort for Brad Keselowski.
There you see Blaney, row 5.
Ty Gibbs subbing for Kurt Busch will start in row 7. Kevin Harvick, most recent winner, also in that row.
Noah Gragson just announced this week going Cup racing full time. Row 10. Daniel Suarez, row 12. Chase Elliott, inside row 12.
A little further back.
Kyle Busch, row 15. He's not worried. Said he could drive from the back.
Eric Almirola, fast in practice also. Those guys all went out early. Austin Cindric also went out early.
And all the way back through row 18. So again, it's the 3rd pole already for Kyle Larson, and we'll see if he can turn that into a win as he heads to Iowa now. Coming up next on USA, it's Fast and Furious.